Hey, this is Danny from Made of Metal, aka Britain's strongest drummer, and I am back with my first video of 2023. When I left you, I was just about to compete in Clash in the UK all the way down south, and despite how it looked on paper, I had a really fun day. I did the best that I could do, came dead last, but then, you know, you had the third strongest man in the world there. You had Wales' strongest man. You had a former deadlift world record holder. The caliber of athlete at that competition was just absolutely insane. So congratulations to Dean McVie, Lewis Blackwood and Andrew Keys. I nearly called the podium correctly on qualifying for Clash of the 80s in the US sometime this year. And a special shout out to CJ Kraus, who jumped in. Oftentimes he's a under 80 kilogram athlete, but he jumped in with the under 90s and won. They don't call him the Giant Slayer for no reason. So yes, we have exciting things brewing in 2023 already. Currently, we are in the midst of the qualifiers for the UKNS final, which is going to be held in Galway on June the 3rd and the 4th. As I said previously, UKNS in 2023 is looking to be bigger and better, offering more qualifiers. There are 3 qualifiers in England this year, 1 in Scotland. There was 1 in Wales, but unfortunately that had to be cancelled due to lack of interest. So hopefully that can be rectified in 2024. People get involved. These are fun competitions. As I speak, the Northern qualifier has already happened, so we know who will be going on to Galway from that competition. Starting with the results from the women's side, congratulations are in order for the under 64 category, Bronwyn Price, Siobhan Hulridge and Kimberly Ogden. And for the under 73s, Laura Hollywood, Josie Forrester and Siobhan McGranagan. And on the men's side of things, in the under 80 category, we have Matt Wally taking the win there, Paul Bamber and Doug Bennett making up the podium. And in the under 90s, Jim Wilcox, Anthony Krasinski and Andrew Bottomley. Now with the Northern qualifier done and dusted, that just leaves the Southern England qualifier, the Scottish qualifier and then finally the Midlands qualifier taking place on February the 11th and 12th. So we're very quickly going to learn who is going to occupy the rest of the lineup for the UKNS finals in Galway in June. If you're unaware of the events that make up the qualifiers, they are largely the same at each qualifier. Adjustments made obviously per weight class, but I think the good thing about the choice of events is they're fairly standard strongman, strongwoman events. There's no real specialist equipment required. Any strongman, strongwoman gym will have the gear that the athletes need to train these events. So let's go through them quickly one by one. Starting off, we have log press, 4 reps, floor to overhead, 60-second time limit. Fairly standard stuff. Moving on to a deadlift, 4 reps. Again, fairly standard, normal barbell from the floor, so no surprises there. Moving on, we have a bit of a killer event. We have a sandbag carry for max distance. There is a time limit in this competition, a time limit of 90 seconds. Lest we forget, England's strongest man last year had a similar event with no time limit whatsoever, and it was brutal. Then we have a farmer's carry for 40 meters. Now some gyms have the space to do 2 20-meter stretches, but others are doing 4 10-meter runs. So lots of drops and turns in those competitions, which are going to be lots and lots of fun to deal with. And finishing off, some gyms, the Northern qualifier managed to incorporate a stone run. Some gyms are doing a stone over yoke and some are doing a sandbag over yoke for as many reps as possible. Now at the Northern qualifier, the bar was set incredibly high by the guys and girls competing. In the under 80 class, that deadlift for reps, the weight is 210 kilograms and Matt Wally took the win with an amazing 13 reps. And just behind him, Paul Bamber, I think with 12 and Doug with 11, which was tremendous to see. Well done, guys. So yeah, exciting times for natural strong men and strong women out there, and the fun isn't going to stop anytime soon. After Galway, there will be an international competition with a qualifier opening up for non-UK residents. I'm really excited to see the caliber and the types of talent that this international competition later in the year is going to attract. Now, as I mentioned, I'm hoping to earn my place at the final in Galway. I will be participating in the Southern Qualifier, which is taking place in about 5 days' time. I'm feeling good. I'm looking forward to it. One of my favourite competitions that I did last year was the UKNS Southern Qualifier, and it was one of the competitions that I performed the best at. So hoping for bigger and better things this year, but of course in this sport of strongman that we love so much, you can never take anything for granted. So just going to go in, do what I can do, and try and make as few mistakes as possible. That's all I can hope for. So we know the events that make up the qualifiers. We know some of the athletes that are already going to Galway. What we don't know is the events that are going to make up the final. Now, if I remember correctly, last year I looked at the Southern Qualifier weights and I thought that was not too intimidating. So we had a deadlift for reps last year. That was 190 kilograms. I thought that seemed very reasonable. But then they announced the events for the final, and they brought out the big guns. There was a deadlift ladder that I think started at 220, 240, 60, 80. It was insane. So while the qualifier, I think, has been quite cleverly put together to appeal to as many people as possible, it's pretty accessible, these qualifier weights and the events. I know that Luke and Steve are going to be pulling out something special for the final, and it's going to be a real test. It's going to be a real test. And someone that is going to be looking to take that challenge head on will be last year's under 80 kilogram champion Connor Cowans, who's already qualified for the final by virtue of winning last year. You know that's a title he's not going to want to give up easily, but the caliber of guys that are coming through this year already, I think he's going to have a fight on his hands. So there we go. That's a brief rundown of the UKNS qualifiers and what little we do know about the final. What events would you like to see in the final? Please don't say sandbag to shoulder. I am so sick of sandbag to shoulder. But let me know what weird and wacky things you think the guys and girls should be put through in June in the comments below. So that's going to about do it from me. I will be back soon with a rundown of how my qualifier went, as well as the other 2 qualifiers yet to take place. This is an exciting year for lightweight strongman and strong woman. We've got the UKNS, BNSF, England's Strongest Man coming up in April, and then in July, possibly the biggest lightweight strongman weekend ever conceived. July 22nd and 23rd, we have on the 22nd, Britain's Strongest Man, under 80 kilograms. And then on the 23rd, we have the Chaos Classic, an under 90 competition. And you better believe I'm going to be doing some videos on that. So thanks for watching the video. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, comment below, and I will be back very soon with another video with a microphone that works. We're learning.